Okay, welcome back to the Leicester Bathrooms channel where we're all about bathrooms. Today we're going to be doing a fairly simple job, but it's a job that a lot of people get wrong, and it's sealing in an installed shower enclosure. And the biggest mistake people tend to make is they think, well, all the water is going to be on the inside, let's seal it from the inside. But what happens if you seal it around the inside is that the water gets trapped between these little profiles. There's a profile on the wall and a profile on the shower that slots together. Water gets in there and it goes out the front. So what you need to do it properly is we need to seal around the outside, all the way around the outside, down the bottom and up there. And then what we need to do is a secret little thing that nobody does, and if they don't do it, it completely leaks. And I'll show you that towards the end. But okay, what we're going to do first is get our sealant around there. And for this job, I'm just using a clear translucent sealant, nice sanitary sealant, like the one we've got here. And then we will need our little Fugi kit towards the end, but I won't use that for the outer exterior. I'll just use a bit of saliva and the hand, but we'll need that little Fugi kit at the end, and I'll show you the little hidden tip that nobody ever does. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, let's start with our sealant. I've got my tube all ready in silicone gun, all ready to go, all cut open. And I've just cut a little 45-degree angle there in the top. Not too big, just take the top of the nozzle off, should be fine. And we'll start applying some down the wall profiles of the screen. So let's get in here. And we're just doing a very, very nice small bead all the way down. Nice and tight, steady, not too fast. Steady as you go. And I'll just show you that while I do the rest. I don't know if you can see that. Just a nice 5 to 8 mil bead is what I do. Okay. Let's get that round there. Must admit this is a bit tricky trying to do this one-handed. Now I tend to not do the whole frame in one go. I do down one profile, smooth it, down one other profile, smooth it, and then around the base. So just get a nice bit of tissue, and we're just going to simply load up our finger with a bit of saliva or a bit of water, whatever you choose. But I think saliva's best. It's got a bit of better coating for that, a bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so we get on and do that. So we just give it a little. And just brush your finger down very lightly. You're not after much, look, hardly any pressure. And that's smoothing that through. There you go. And that's the sort of thing you're after there. Not much at all, not much pressure at all. Just very, very gentle, just glossing over the top of it. There we go. Okay. And then you could probably give that another hit once you've given it the first wipe. You can just go down it, just brushing it again, just to make sure it's nice and formed. A bit more saliva or water, whatever you choose, whatever you're comfortable with. And you're just brushing it over very gently to just mold it in. There you go. Cool. And just do that all the way down. And then you can do your other one. And then we'll show you how to do around the bottom. Okay, next bit. So the important thing to remember when you're moulding in your silicone, wet your finger, run it down, and then when you've gone a foot or so, clear off the excess, nice and clean, and go again. Don't try and be tempted to go all the way down with one hit, because you just won't get the coating. So once that's coated in saliva, it sounds a bit gross, you can just keep going, smoothing it in. And the reason I use translucent silicone as opposed to white makes a hell of a mess against aluminium. It smears on it a lot easier. So translucent with nice white tiles like this, or darker tiles against an aluminium frame, is just a lot neater. And I'll show you that that's hardly perceptible there. It's almost invisible. So that's the two profiles done. Then we'll silicone around the base now. Clear off any excess, and nice, slow and steady. There we go. Get to about halfway, and then you can start from the other end. Now we start to smooth. When you get to a corner like this, just give it a little push inwards to mould it, so it forms with the upright, and just really gently pull that round. You're hardly touching it, you're not applying any pressure at all. And give it another smooth. Just barely touching. The lightest of touches, because the saliva does all the work for you. Once you get a coating of saliva on top of the silicone, you can be a little bit more brutal with it, but it needs that initially to be able to mould into place. And the same round here. Temptation is, when people smooth out silicone, is to push it hard and form it in. That just squeezes out everywhere. I'm literally brushing the top of it with my finger, coated in saliva, and that smooths in nicely. Okay, that's siliconed all the way around now, all the way round into that corner. There we go, nice and tidy, nice and invisible. You get a little bit of here, you see some saliva residue there, but don't worry about that. That'll just dry of its own accord. Don't try and wipe that off, that's absolutely fine. Now, that's the sealant done on the tray, the enclosure. You might think, but there is more work to do. If you just left it like that, yes, it would be sealed around the perimeter, but it still would have a chance of leaking, and I'll show you why. And this is what 99.9% of the time, if you get leaks from the outside of your enclosure, this will be why, because this has been missed. Let's take a look. And the thing that's been missed is this. Here, you have got a wall profile. It's hard to make out on the video. You've got a wall profile, and you've got your shower enclosure profile that slots over the top like a C shape of your wall profile. This joint here is a leak hazard where the two meet. And this is what a lot of people miss, and this is the vast majority of times, this is where we see leaks from. You need to apply sealant to this area, to this join, to about 4 inches up. So we'll go and do that, and this is where we use our little Fuji, whatever you call it, kit that you can get that online on Amazon. They're invaluable. I've tailored mine around a little bit for what I need, but on this occasion we'll be using this square flat blade. So we'll go and put that on now. So what we're doing is simply a little tight bead. You can be a little bit on messy here, all the way up there, all the way up that seam to about 4 inches or so, something like that. And then we take our tool, oops, and we just work that up like so. And by doing that, that will push that silicone into that seam there. Okay, clear off the residue onto a towel, and then go again. Just clear that off that front edge, and then the back edge, simply bit of saliva on your finger and just tidy that up like that. That's all we're looking for. And there we go. And of course we do that around that other profile as well, and that's just completely watertight. Okay, that's our shower enclosure all sealed. Just to recap, we've sealed down both of the wall profiles around the base, and we've gone 4 or 5 inches, whatever you feel comfortable with, up against the two profiles where they meet together in that seam. Before you do all this, obviously make sure it's all dust free and grime free. I tend to give it a wipe with a Wonder wipe, industrial wipe, and then dry with a tissue and make sure it's all nice and clean. So never be tempted to seal your enclosures from the inside and outside, because what will happen is water will penetrate in between these joints here, and water will build up in these channels. We've taken out enclosures where they've been sealed from the inside and outside, and these channels here have been full up with water, sort of 8 inches, and then it just comes guggling out because it hasn't got anywhere to go. So you never seal enclosures from the inside unless you've got one fixed glass panel. You'd probably go around the glass, sort of a walk-in screen. When you've got an enclosure like this, just from the outside. So I hope that's been helpful, because there's no point putting in an enclosure and looking all smart and then have it leak and problematic. So there you go. I hope you liked it, so we'll see you on the next one.